Pucknology After Dark is brought to you by Audible.com, an audiobook service from Amazon. With our special partner link, you can get a free 30-day trial that comes with a free audiobook, which is yours to keep. You have over 180,000 titles to choose from that you can download to your phone, tablet, or MP3 player. Visit audibletrial.com/PAD to sign up right now. You
Very nice.
are watching Pucknology After Dark. Oh my. And let's be real here, folks. Oh my is what we're saying about that country's team right now. Yes, my beloved Americans. We'll get more into that. But first, welcome to Pucknology After Dark World Cup Edition. I am joined by the lovely and talented Ian Reed.
Hey everybody, how are you guys doing tonight? I'm probably doing better than most of you.
As the Canadian robot really kicks in his Canadian robot accent. And you guys thought my British accent was bad. Oh well. To join the conversation, you know the drill. You use the hashtag PucknologyAD. You connect with us through the YouTube page on the YouTube chat as we speak. You can also follow us on Twitter at Pucknology, at PuckGuy14, at iReadPucknology. There might be more coming. We shall see. If not, whatever. So, that being said, let's go over the recent game tonight, and that is Canada. Puck
Yay.
Yeah, whatever. 6-0 over the Czech Republic. Wasn't even that close. Although Neuwirth had a nice series of saves at the end there. That was very nice. But just nothing going for the Czech Republic. They missed Tomáš Hrdl.
Yeah, I think that when you take a look at this team, I mean, they came out with a good effort, I thought, at the start. And then, Carey Price came up with some huge saves off the hop, and then Canada slowly kind of pried the game away from them, and then you saw things kind of, balance over in their direction. And I give the Czechs a lot of credit because this is a team that did lose, some significant pieces to their team. And unlike Team Europe, they just can't find other NHLers to fill those spots. So what you end up with is, you're bringing guys in from the KHL and everything else. And that's not an excuse. I mean, look, they came out, they played a tight game at the start, but eventually, they were just outclassed. And you got to give, my hat's off to Michael Neuwirth because he is going to really, he really stood his ground until the very end of the game. Like, you could tell he was gassed. Guys were starting to wonder, at least on the TV team up here, if he actually got hurt in that last thing and I think he was just tired. I mean, he faced 50 shots. The shots weren't easy shots by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah, he let in, 6 goals, but man, he got shelled tonight. And it's something else, something else for them. But my hat's off to Michael Neuwirth for sure.
Yeah, and it was tough, and after all, they do have Roman Polak on defense. So let's be real here; they're asking for trouble. Shark-wise, Brent Burns got on the board with a nice goal. I thought it was tipped in by Marchand, but I guess not. And Jumbo gets in a nice tap in from Sid.
Yes, yeah, that was nice too. I mean, there's some really nice goals tonight. I like that Crosby Thornton goal was nice. It's good because
Yes.
Look, let's be honest here. This is probably the last time Joe Thornton's going to wear the maple leaf. The next time that he could possibly do it would be in 2 years at the Olympics, if they even go to the Olympics.
Right.
And at that point he's going to be 39. Chances are he's not on that team. I don't think it matters how much he plays. So people were saying that I sound like a bad drive-through speaker. Am I better now in the chat? Hi, people. I think it was just because my washing machine was in spin cycle, and I think that was coming through.
Just do me this one favor. Can you just say Welcome to Tim Hortons. May I take your order?
Welcome to Tim Hortons. May I take your order?
Oh, that's a dream. All right. I'll take some
I
Timbits.
still sound raspy, eh?
No. You. It just seems like there's a little frog in your reception. You check it out, and I'll keep
All right.
talking
How about
for a
now?
sec. Keep talking.
Talking.
Yeah, that sounds better.
All right, good.
Yeah,
I'm sorry about my fan. I'm sorry that I'm dying of heat here because it's so bloody humid. Sleepy Mofo, I'm not being negative. I just think that it is what it is for Jumbo, man. I think that what he has been able to do and the fact that he made this team is awesome. But you look at the talent level and you look at when Corey Perry is your spare part, it's a bad it's a tough hill to climb for Jordan to make the team again in 2 years.
You're getting lit up in the chat. I don't know.
Totally lit up in the chat. I'm sorry, Team USA lost. You guys just have to cut me some slack here.
No, you're fine, bud. You're fine. Drew saying Ian's using autotune. Rocket Canadian autotune. Ooh, that's nice. And Ian with autotune is better than Beyonce and Bieber. Oh boy.
I need to find some autotune now so I can just say sorry into it and then play it on the air. Next show. Next After Dark Tuesday.
You're good. You're good.
I'm gonna have autotune. I'm sorry for when we beat the Americans.
Yeah. That might come Tuesday, but we'll get into it. Rocket. Jeez, is it too late to say sorry? Overall, Canada's performance defensively looked pretty solid tonight. What did you take defensively? Czech Republic had some decent chances, but on the other end, Canada had over 50 shots on goal. That's just insane.
Right, but that does start from the back end, though. I think that the Canada's transition game going from their blue line to the offensive blue line. They're gone. They're out of their zone so fast. Those breakout passes are so clean, and if they're it's not a breakout pass, then it's somebody carrying the puck. To me, the defense kind of picked up right where it left off in Sochi, and in my opinion, in this, you can say whatever. Ian's just hyping his own country, but I don't think I've ever seen a better defensive performance than we did from the Canadian team in Sochi ever, and all my time watching the game. So I think that they really just kind of picked up from where they left off. Anytime that Canada broke up the play, they got the puck, it was gone. It was already back out, and poor Neuwirth was getting shelled with 6 more shots.
It's just like they get one shot, turn it back around, and back goes Canada to make a crazy rush. It was a strong performance. It wasn't like I don't want to say it was an embarrassing performance, because I thought 6-0 was tame, because it could have been a whole lot worse. But for Canada, I think now they're the front runner for to take this whole thing.
Yeah. They were obviously heavily favored coming into the tournament. So obviously, they're definitely favored to do well, and I think this performance is good. But this, you never want to take too much for granted early on. This is only the Czech Republic. I think that Team Europe's probably a little bit better than we gave them credit for, and I think that they could probably give Canada fits. And we'll get to this in a few, I'm sure, but we obviously didn't see the best of the Americans today, and those are your next 2 games.
Yeah, and that's the big thing, and we might as well just get to it right now. America, what the puck? They lose 3-0 to a team that didn't exist until 3 weeks ago, to Team Europe. They looked tired, lazy, lackadaisical. That's a game where it almost looked like Europe could have scored a lot more, and the United States just did not do well. Now, that being said, and I think I saw Gentry tweet this out, but Hockey Jerk kind of contradicts it. After 2 periods, it was 3-0, and Quick had 3 goals on 9 shots.
Mhm.
However, how they got those goals is also an issue on the defense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. The first two, especially, I think the first two it was. There was 2 goals I absolutely Quick had no chance on. So to hang this game on Quick would be, as much as Quick isn't my favorite goalie, and I think that Team USA has a better goalie. I think their best goalie wasn't even dressed for the game. But that being said, Quick was the guy in net, and those 2 of those goals, at least 2 of them, and you might even argue the third one, they didn't have to, you know, they didn't have it. They just didn't help him. He didn't have any chance on at least 2 of them, maybe even 3. So to hang this game on Quick would be just, it's dumb. There's no reason for it. There's lots of other problems.
Overall, it was just really, really a bad performance. I mean, Europe shut them down just like we shut this door just a second ago. I don't understand, because they didn't carry out their physical play that we saw in that game against the Canadians.
Right.
They didn't have the creativity that I expected them to have. And we keep talking about how they're set, they're a team made to take on Canada. Well, now they got to play Canada to just stay alive in the tournament.
Yeah, no, I mean, this tournament, the way it's set up, you have 3 games, and then the top 2 teams from each pool move on. There's no quarterfinal, so it's not like everyone gets a chance to play, to go and play on. So you got the top 2 teams in the one pool playing the top 2 teams in the other pool. One plays 2, both ways. So for USA, I mean, this team against Canada, after what they did tonight, I mean, that's a must-win game for them. That, if I'm Team USA, I'm probably white as a ghost right now. Yeah, look, and a lot of people are going to point out really quickly that, that they did beat Canada in the exhibition. They did, but I think if you look closer at that game, they got outplayed. That they might have won the game, but they got outplayed. The chances were heavily in Canada's favor. The shots on goal were heavily in Canada's favor. It wasn't, it wasn't like they just completely steamrolled Canada to win the game. That they did win an exhibition. So yeah, I mean they're in tough now, because this game against Team Europe, which I do want to talk about a little bit, but this was a game that they should have won. I like this Team Europe a little bit more than I originally did. Obviously, they got pretty worked by Team North America, but when you think about what they went through before starting the tournament, I think that you can kind of give them a little bit of a break considering the age of the team. And then when you look at Team Europe, this is a team that when they came in, they all basically just flew in from, these are all countries that have to qualify for the Olympics for the most part, right? Like they'd have to go through the qualification tournament. So these guys, some of them came back, they just lost their chance for their country to be represented in the Olympics. I mean, that's not exactly easy to get over. So you combine that fatigue with age, and then you put them up against a 23-year-old and under buzzsaw, like, of course they're going to get worked. But then you saw against Sweden that, this team's a little bit better than probably most of us gave them credit for. And why wouldn't they be? I mean, this is a team that has Marian Hossa, Marian Gaborik, Anze Kopitar. Like, obviously, this is a team of NHL players. Like, unlike the Czech Republic, like this team, I don't know if there's anyone on this team that is not from an NHL squad. So when you have a team full of NHL players, your chance to win a tournament is just as good as anybody's.
Yeah, it's kind of like remember when the All-Star format was North America versus the world? This is kind of that, where it's a world squad. You just don't have any Czechs, Finns, Swedes, and Russians on it. But you hit it right on the head. They just came back from Olympic qualifying, and now they scrambled together. And one of the things was, I guess the language of choice to communicate with everybody is it's in English, which is kind of ironic in that sense where they you have all kinds of different languages in there, and unfortunately that's the case for everybody going on with Europe. We'll show the standings right now in Group A. Group B doesn't start until tomorrow night, so that's why we won't show them now. But for right now, uh, obviously Canada and Europe 1-0. They're in good shape right now. Czech Republic and the United States are at 0-1. Like Ian said, the top two teams in each group advance to the semifinals. Um, in this case, the top team from Group A would take the second place team in Group B in the final, and vice versa in the other semifinal. For those of you thinking, okay, what are the chances now for the United States in case of a tiebreaker? Here's how the tiebreaker actually works. If it's a two-way tie, any tie between the two teams will be decided by the result of their head-to-head game. So in essence, if the United States is tied with Europe after all three games, Europe has the tiebreaker right now. If for some reason uh, Europe, the Czechs, and the Americans end up in a three-way tie, there's like a 5-step process, and it'll be calculated on all games played. Of course, it's total points. The usual 2 for win, 1 for any shootout or loss. The second tiebreaker is rows, which, Gen X drink. I know I'm not. It's not the right Eric, but there you go. So any regulation wins will be the first tiebreaker essentially. Then you go to regulation wins where you don't need the overtime. Step 4 is goal differential, which right now, thank you Canada, because they scored 6 goals on the Czechs. So that's a helpful thing down the road. And then, of course, step 5 is total goals scored. Not exactly the greatest situation for the Americas right now. They would have to start running up the score against Canada and the Czechs, which could lead to some dicey things. There's actually 2 more steps after that if there's only between the tied teams only. So there would be games between, like if it's a tie between the Czechs, Europe, and America, the game against Canada wouldn't count, and that's goal differential and then total goals scored. So for those thinking ahead of there, it's an interesting process. It's kind of similar to what the NHL does in a tournament format, though. So Ian is tending to a little one right now. So if you have any questions, by all means, I will answer them. You can use the hashtag Pucknology AD. You can also join us in the YouTube chat. The other thing is we will take a look at our Twitter poll question tonight, and that is presented by Nobody. The question here is, would losing the tournament be better for Team USA so they can clean house? Yes or no? You have a few more minutes to answer this, and we will reveal the results near the end of the program. It looks like Ian Reed is back with us. If I can get my face back out there. There we go. All right. Ian, you there?
I am here.
All right. Everybody okay over there?
Yeah. Just a quick wake up with some anger and now back to sleep. So hopefully he stays that way.
I didn't know Kalen was an American fan for anger.
Yeah.
Wow. Basically, I just went over the tie-breaking procedures and standings right now. All hope isn't lost, but at the same time, you got to have a solid effort against Canada on Tuesday.
Interesting, just in the chat here, because Hockey Jerks, my question is, when people stop talking about who could be on the team, no longer a valid argument. If you ask me, okay, I will concede that point. But then you look at tonight's lineup, and you sat Dustin Byfuglien over, I don't know, just about anybody. I mean, there's a fundamentally brokenness about this Team USA management and the way that they've put together their last couple of teams. And I think that, when you're looking at this, like, I would want new eyes on it after this. Now, maybe they turn around and they destroy Canada on Tuesday and they come back and win the whole damn thing, and then we all look really dumb. Fair. But
Canada, but
yeah, I mean, not outside of the realm of possibilities. Again, this is, when you have a team of NHL players in a best on best tournament, a team of NHL players winning a tournament isn't exactly outside the realm of possibility.
No, I just, there were a number of people who said, and we won't go into this conversation because I know there's been a number of people who suggested maybe even Justin Braun could have been on this team. Nonetheless, this is your team,
right?
And Dustin Byfuglien can be a defenseman, could be a forward, and I think they missed that on the power play today. He's on the team. I would think he's in there.
Well, if you look at your bread and butter, everyone's talking about, like, all the talk this so far has been about, they're trying to emulate the 90 whatever team, 96 team, right? That won the first World Cup, and so that's where all the talk has been. And I just, so they're talking about how they want to be this big physical, they want to impose their will physically, and then you put Dustin Byfuglien in the press box. I mean, that doesn't line up to me anyway.
I just don't see what the problem was for having. I don't know if they went for more of a defensive Sourworth or they were saving him for the other two games. I don't know. That to me, that almost seems like you would be scratching Burns in the Canada lineup, which I can't see Babcock doing that. But nonetheless, now I'll ask you this. Now, down here in the States, they had some pretty interesting innovation here where they had the boards were ever-changing with advertisements.
Yeah.
Did you guys have that up there?
We did. The way it was up here, though, like, from what I gathered on Twitter, no, I didn't go online and try and find an ESPN stream to see how it was working for them. But the way they did it up here was basically like the ad would stay on, and then if they took an angle where they were close up to the players where they couldn't CGI the boards, and then when you went back to the bigger frame, the boards would be different. It wasn't like really, they didn't change it mid-play, which would probably be distracting, and I kind of got the impression from Twitter that that's what they were doing in the States. I take my glasses off, so I hate the reflection off of them. So I feel like that that's the way it sounded like it was in the States. And I can't confirm that. Again, I didn't watch it. Personally, though, I would rather that than ads on the boards. On the glass, sorry. Like the CGI ads on the glass. I would much rather these CGI ads on the boards over that. My question, I guess, would be, are they hurting? Is this if they continue doing this through the season and you're covering all these ads with basically just one ad for whoever's paying the TV provider, in this case Sportsnet or ESPN and NBC, whoever's doing it down south, when the season starts, I guess it would be NBC. Is this going to hurt individual teams' revenues for those ad boards if they know that on TV they're just going to get covered with other stuff on national games?
It's an interesting thing because it doesn't just cover like one half of the rink. It covers the whole boards up front and then the majority of the sides. That's a good question because there's no way in heck that they would have it up for a minute or so advertisement for Orchard Supply Hardware or CSN. I'm with you. I think those advertisements above on the glass that kind of blocks the fans is stupid.
Especially when you look at if you watch it on I don't know if it's WGN. I think when they show games up in Chicago, like it's not only just like behind the glass, like they pretty much like covered the glass in advertisements. So Yeah, and Vince G in the chat, better on the boards than on the sweaters. Although I don't hate the SAP patch on the sweater. I don't really notice it.
I'm kind of with you, Vince, that it's better on the boards than the jerseys. I get what the league is doing, and they're trying out stuff, and that's what this World Cash Grab of hockey, World Cup of hockey is all about. But but still, uh, hockey jerk Kevin Weeks said, "Look at Petrangelo over by the pizza board. Probably cost ESPN $100,000. It probably did, especially since Pizza's not down here." 967-1111 pizza. You're welcome, pizza. It's not like I know the phone number off by heart for every ad you play during Hockey Central at noon. But if you could do like one of the boards, I know they have the LED board for the Sharks that kind of like rotates ads and such.
Mm-hmm.
If they could have like another one where it can be CGI'd, I just one, not the whole rink. If they could do one, okay, I think that totally makes sense. But yeah, it definitely had that soccer feel to it. And the one thing I had an issue with was, I think for the Honda ad, the Honda car would like drive by and then would reveal Honda. I thought that's a little distracting. That could be a major issue, because what am I supposed to look? I'm trying to watch the game, not see
Right.
like 6 cars driving by to reveal Honda. So they can play around with it. I think it looks really nice, but it still needs a little tinkering, I think.
Yeah, like see on the Sportsnet feed, and that's all I can speak to. The transitions were, they were really good about not transitioning until like there was a stoppage in play. Then you might see the boards transition. But generally speaking, when the boards would change, like they were pretty static during play. And when they changed, would generally, like I said, they would cut away to a corner, to an angle where they couldn't CGI the boards, like behind the net, for example. And then when you came out from that behind the net view, the boards would have a different ad on them, which I'm totally fine with that. I don't have a problem with this. I think that if they keep it static, like I watched on the Sportsnet feed, I'm really cool with it. Honestly, I don't really care. The only small little thing that I'm bothered by a little bit is if the play gets too over into the boards, then it kind of gets a little funky looking. Not completely destroy the game funky looking, but you could definitely notice like they got to figure out some stuff especially when they're over in the corner, trying to play the puck and trying to make sure that it doesn't get all pixely and weird looking. That's it. We're really, other than that though, I'm fine with this.
Yeah, no, I agree. Couple comments here. Gentry, hi Nosh bro. Hope you're doing well and having fun. He says, I think Team America is out of sync and out of the tournament. They won't crap with Quick and Net. Of course, Hockey Jerk, and he even mentioned it in the chat here. We got to take off our teal tinted glasses of sorts and say it's not Quick's fault.
Oh, I don't put that performance on Quick at all. I put it on the forwards and the defense. Honestly, as the game dragged on, they looked disinterested. And how you could be disinterested in such an important game, like all these games are important. That's why I really like the way this tournament's set up. All these games are important. The USA just put themselves in a huge hole, and to not even get out of the round robin, that's a huge failure for the United States. Look at. I understand and I appreciate that, the U.S. isn't exactly a hockey, they're not like the hockey power, obviously, but they are better than this. They are better than they did
Absolutely.
in Sochi. They are better than this. It drives me crazy. Instead of trying to emulate all these other teams, why don't you pull your big boy pants up and play hockey and be the players? This is the best era of American hockey. Like the players that the Americans are putting out that call America home now are the best they've ever been. So this idea that they can't even make it out of the round robin, this is ridiculous. They need something. I don't know what they need, but they need to get it together, because Team USA hockey is better than this. Flat out.
It's absolutely better than this. I mean, we're just now getting into the era where you're starting to see the roots of all of the recent expansion teams kind of get into fruition. You have the Sharks have been around 25 years. You have Tampa for 24. You're going to have Anaheim and Florida, and essentially when the North Stars relocated to Dallas, 23 years. You're starting to see all of that exposure to the game start to come up into the uh, into the roots of how they would play hockey in the United
Right.
States. And the problem I think it is that yeah, they had the exposure, but not quite all these teams played well.
Mm.
So they didn't grasp onto it. Now, that being said, there's talent out there. I mean, prime example, Austin Matthews is going to be something else, and I can't wait to see what he does tomorrow in his first, I want to say, pro game.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Played pro in South Carolina.
well, I mean, North American pro game, I should say.
No, I'm just
Yeah, my bad. Thank you. No, I appreciate that. You just tell me I'm done next time. That's all.
All right.
But you're starting to see the rewards of all of that expansion, which is very nice. The problem I have is that when you have all of this, and I would just hope like crazy that that next go around USA is going to realize it and see even more help or more players coming in and more after that. I mean, I look in 4 years, which I hope that they kind of start regularly starting to do the World Cup of Hockey regularly.
It seems like that's the plan.
I would hope so, because if they want this to be a prestigious tournament, you can't have just one within a 20-year span. I'm sorry. Right. That's just dumb. So I mean, you have like the California guys, Long Beach native Matt Nieto. I think there was like there were a lot of draft picks out of Missouri and like the St. Louis Junior Blues organization. See, Hockey Jerk just said it. Like 6 of the top 15 draft picks from 2016 were from Missouri. Right. I mean, that's just amazing to have. That Junior Blues organization is something else. And once you get that, and then you start, I mean, look, again, Austin Matthews probably wouldn't be picking up a puck if it weren't for the Coyotes.
Right.
Down the road, we're probably talking about some kids that were inspired by, Tom Fitzgerald and Tomas Vokoun, the early Nashville Predator days. I mean, you're going to have that eventually. It's just got to be patience. But however, the Americans should be a hell of a lot better than this. I think that's the big point here is that they should be a hell of a lot better than what they are right now. And that's the concern. I mean, because you talk about exposing the game out to more people now that it's on ESPN, and you show up on a 12:30, 3:30 time slot on Saturday afternoon that they give up for college football, and you show up with a goose egg, that doesn't help anything at all.
And it sucks because you go back to, and look at that, you go back to Sochi, and this team hasn't scored a goal in 3 games.
I mean, and they have the players. I mean, you have Pavelski, who I hope he ripped into his team today. Although I'm concerned he's going to be ripped because, he's a weasel. He can't lead anybody, quote unquote.
Pavelski's going to absolutely get ripped if the USA bombs out of this tournament, and I don't put it on Pavelski. I don't
either.
But no, but watch, because all your media is over in the East Coast, and I think, look, if there's going to be a lot if the USA does flame out, and this is a big if. I'm not counting them out yet, so I don't want anyone to think that I've already just counted them out. If Team USA Flames out. One, yeah, Pavelski's going to get absolutely ripped because he just captained a team to a loss in the Stanley Cup final, and then they captained Team USA to it, maybe possibly an embarrassing finish. But you know what? It's the other thing too is that let's be honest, the Sharks don't get on national television all that much, and if they do, it's usually on the late feed with Han and whoever is sitting beside him. I'm assuming it's still Jamie Baker. Doing commentary. So yeah, East Coast media is a bunch of chicken shits. They'll absolutely rip into him because they won't have to. They won't have to answer to him for it. So yeah, watch for it. I think it's going to be one thing, and then they're going to they're going to rip into that. I think you have to, at least, if this goes badly, and sorry, Hockey Jerk, you have to go back and look at who's managing this team and how these teams are being constructed, because yes, you have the North America situation. Johnny Gaudreau could absolutely be on this team. Do they pick him? Who fucking knows? You would like to think that if Johnny Gaudreau was not under 23, they would have taken him on the main roster. But with some of the other people up there home, who fucking knows? You have, you have guys like maybe, probably Austin Matthews doesn't make the cut. Does Jack Eichel? Maybe. But again,
should be in there. Gaudreau, I would think, would be in there.
Well, I think Gaudreau's there, but there's a couple other players I thought should be there. Who scored the last USA goal in a best-on-best tournament? Phil Kessel, also not playing. Now he's injured, granted, but still not picked for the team.
Yeah,
guy has third in American goal scoring third in American goal scorers over the past, I think, 4 years, next to only Pavelski and Kane.
Yeah, and there's going to be some people who are going to say, well, Kane's won 3 Stanley Cups. He should be the better leader. He should be leading the... Don't give me that. I'm sorry. He's in there. I mean, what was the press release that came out along with Pavelski and the assistants? There was a leadership group. I mean, just he doesn't have a letter on it doesn't mean that they're not being a leader in it. I mean, this isn't on one person. It's on the whole team. I mean, you have Kane, you have Pacioretty, you have Parisi, you have Ryan Suter, you have Pavs. I mean, there's a lot of leaders on this group, right. And if they were to give crap to Pavelski, I think that's beyond wrong.
It's an easy narrative, though. It's this is the kind of shit that media spits out all the place.
Oh yeah,
the first thing you do when shit goes wrong, it's obviously the captain's fault. Look at Montreal. They traded Subban, and now they're still all over Pacioretty. It's always it's lazy media narrative, and at least we try not to feed into that too much, but it definitely happens. I mean, I'm on the record many times saying the captaincy is one of the most overrated things in the game today. And not everyone agrees with me, but that's okay. I don't really care. It's just it's lazy. It's easy. I'm not saying that Pavelski deserves to get blamed, but I think he's gonna get when you wear the C, you get that blame because it's easy and it's lazy and it works.
Yeah, no, it's
lame. Captain didn't score. Need more hits. More grit.
Chester Chivo, if you're watching, could you make sure you gift that, please? That was priceless. Thank you so much. Almost sound like an angry AJ Tree voice.
Gotta represent.
Yes, absolutely. So moving on to tomorrow, you have at noon Sweden versus Russia. That's going to be a good matchup. Essentially, a third of the Vancouver Canucks versus Alexander Ovechkin and Pavel Datsyuk and such. That's at noon on ESPN. At 5 on ESPN2, the debut of North America against Finland. Should be another interesting one. And talk about North America. You talked about the speed in about to be banished from Canada.
There's Canadians on that team. I'm fine.
with his support for North America. But my thing is this: they have the speed, um, they have a lot of tools. Is there a way for them to pull out and surpass Finland and Sweden to get into the semifinal?
Man, okay. So Team North America, they're in tough. Look, this pool is not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy for any of the teams in this pool. Like I feel like Pool A is so sillily lopsided compared to Pool B. And it was like almost like they just wanted, okay, so these four teams over here are going to kill each other, and then Canada and the U.S. are going to beat whoever makes it from that pool, and then they're going to play in the final, and everyone's happy. All right.
Yay! Realistically, how this cash grab of hockey, I mean World Cup of hockey, was set up was it was going to essentially be America, U.S. for the championship in the best of three, and then they lose Russia and maybe North America would lose out. That's probably the dream scenario for Gary Bettman. But
yeah,
they could go any. I mean, there's a possibility that any of these teams can get in Group B.
Yeah. Oh no, Group B. Group B. It's going to be tough because I think North America. I think North America might be able to beat the Russians. I don't like the Russians on D. I think they can beat Finland. Finland's another good team though that has a lot of young stars on that Finnish team too. So I think Finland is one of the teams that will be able to go toe to toe speed wise with North America. Sweden's interesting because when I'm going into the tournament, like I put Sweden as my number 2. Now exhibition games being what they are, not exactly totally meaningful, but this is a Swedish team that only won one of their 3 exhibition games. They lost one to the Finns, and then they beat the Finns, and then they lost to Team Europe. So I'm kind of curious to see if we've overrated the Swedes a little bit going to tournament. So I'm really interested to see how they do against the Russians tomorrow. But they could. So I think that North America can do anything from like go 2-1 to they could just as easily go 0-3 though. I mean, there's some really tough pools in this teams in this pool, and I hate I really like what I've seen from Team North America, but they're exploitable. They're absolutely exploitable. Their defense can be pressured into doing some silly things, and we've seen that, especially against I believe it was the Czech Republic they played last. I thought we saw that a little bit. We also saw that as the games dragged on against Europe, as Europe kind of found their legs. If Matt Murray's not 100%, I mean, they're going to go probably next to John Gibson. I don't like that. But man, up front, they're as good as any team in the tournament. So it'll be interesting to see them play Russia because I think up front, both of these teams are just stupid. They might be the best 2 teams up front as far as just like the way that they're going to play, other than Canada, obviously. Up front, they might be the 2 best teams in the tournament, Russia and North America. So it's going to be interesting to see. I'm hoping they do well. I want them to do well. I want, I know I tweeted out earlier that I wanted it to be Europe and North America in the final, just to watch the world burn. But I don't hate, now that I've watched these gimmick teams, I don't really hate them so much, and I wouldn't be upset to see North America do well. I really love the exhibition games that North America played. They were fantastic. They were my favorite games to watch. The Czech one was a little bit of a stinker, but yeah, I think that they can definitely hold their own. But we thought that the U.S. would roll over Europe today too. So let's see what happens.
Well, yeah, and Europe didn't even pick up a win in the exhibition, so nobody expected. Oh, they did beat Sweden. My bad. I'm sorry, but I mean they struggled. Halak was standing on his head. Europe is going to be great, but yeah, North America looks pretty solid with up front. Their defense isn't too bad, but something tells me, and tell me if I'm wrong, it's going to be like a 6-5 game against Russia tomorrow. I just have a feeling it's going to be super high octane. Both of them are going to go back and forth. It's going to be like one of those playoff intensity battles until somebody scores, and then it kind of gets
I
reeled
think
in
the
a little bit,
floodgates
and it
just
just
open.
goes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think when they finally do match up, I mean, tomorrow I think it's Russia Sweden. So I'm looking at
Oh,
that
sorry.
Russia
Yeah.
Sweden game is super intriguing to me. Just to wander off onto that topic, Russia Sweden's really intriguing to me because I didn't think that the Russians looked okay in the preliminary. I think there's another team that only won one game, but um, the Czech Republic, they again, you started the tournament with these exhibition rivalry games, which really tonight you didn't really see the same intensity in the games as you did in those exhibition games because you didn't start with those rivalry games. So I'm really curious to see what happens tomorrow in this Russia Sweden game because I think that both of these teams are better than they played in the exhibition,
Yeah.
and it'll be interesting to see who is who can come out of that one on top because again this pool is going to be just silly hard to get out of. And then when you move over to Finland and Finland might have a little bit better defense, but man, offensively, these two teams are going to be just silly to watch offensively. And I think this is a game, much like Russia, where we might see a 7-6 game between them and the Finns, because I think the Finns can go toe to toe with North America on speed. They've got they got some young guys too. They got Patrick Laine, Sebastian Aho down there. So I mean, this is a team that's going to definitely push North America. I don't think North America it has an easy game in this pool. I don't think any of these, and that's the thing. In Pool B, there are no easy games. I think in Pool A, we saw an easy game tonight. It went pretty much the way most people would expect it. I think Team USA was expected to do better against Europe. I think Europe, though, might just be better than we thought they were going in, though. So I think that remains to be seen, and we'll see how that plays out. But I want to see Team Europe play Canada. I think that'll give me a better feeling for how this really, how this really looks. And then, obviously Canada, US, that's going to be a huge game. The US could be out of this thing before it even starts if they lose to Canada.
Right. Which I could see ESPN be like, all right, we're moving the entire tournament over to ESPNU for the rest of the way.
ESPN radio.
That's right, ESPN, and they'll be like, no, we guys still do Sports Center updates every 15 minutes. Here comes Belski. Shut. It's time for a Sports Center update. Okay.
Oh man, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be Group B is gonna be really fun to watch. It's gonna be really fun. Let's take a look at our poll question tonight, and the question was: Would losing the tournament be better for Team USA than winning, so they can clean house and get their crap together? 65% of you have said yes, which is it's very interesting.
26 votes.
26 votes. Thank you so much for that. We really appreciate it. That's tough to say. I mean, because Lombardi, this was Lombardi's first crack at being the GM.
Wasn't he the GM in Sochi?
I thought it was somebody else.
Pretty sure it was Lombardi in Sochi too.
Oh, I thought it was Berkey.
Berkey's in the mix, but I'm pretty sure Burke was definitely the GM for Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure it was Lombardi for both Sochi and this, but I could be wrong. I'll have to double check that. But I know Berkey's he's an upper, so he's definitely in this group of decision makers. But he's been involved in this team too. But I mean, they need to shake things up from the top down if they get embarrassed out of this tournament, because there's no reason for it, and I feel like being Canadian, I'm far too angry about this, but there's just no reason for the U.S. not to be better in international terms, especially best on best. They're a good country.
No, they should be a lot better. They should be absolutely a lot better. I just thought they could have had a better effort tonight, no matter who was in net. So,
Right. I mean, look
Um,
at you put Corey Schneider in net. He's probably getting scored on the same goals that Quick let in. You put Ben Bishop in net. It's probably the same thing. You can't give teams 2-on-1s, especially again. Yeah, it's Team Europe, and it sounds like it's so terrible. But then when you look at the lineup and you see guys like Marian Hossa and Marian Gaborik and all these guys that are on this team, there's more than that. Like this team isn't as bad as it's made out to be. You're taking the best players from like 7 countries and throwing them all on one team. They haven't they have an advantage over the Czech Republic. I think the Czech Republic is a weaker team than Team Europe
right.
when you look down at it.
Like I said earlier, it was like it's like the reinvention of the Europe All-Star team from the old All-Star format of the late 90s, early 2000s. Hockey Jerk, thank you. Our director of research, Hockey Jerk, says Lombardi was Sochi, Burke was Vancouver.
I'm a hockey robot for a reason.
Yes. So thank you very much for that. Vince G says, crack open a chum, kick back and enjoy. They aren't here yet. Trust me. I'm like on chum watch at work. And it still hasn't arrived yet. So I'm still waiting on that. I guess that's it for us. So Ian, tell us what's coming up on the Pucknology Writers Room tomorrow.
Okay, so tomorrow on the Pucknology Writers Room, we're going to probably go a little bit into, we're going to try and pick apart, I think, these games a little bit more. I think we're going to pick apart Team USA specifically, so Hockey Jerk's going to watch and be angry the whole time, just forewarning. We're going to obviously talk about what happens in tomorrow's games, a little bit of news. And tomorrow, our question for tomorrow, because I'm going to steal this whole question thing. If
You're welcome.
The Olympics isn't best on best, does it matter? Because I've heard so much flack about this tournament, about how, well, it's not the Olympics. It's not the Olympics. Does anyone give a fuck about the Olympics if it's not best on best? Does the Olympics matter still? Because to me, like, being someone who, we've had a whole basically generation of hockey fans now that have never seen a not best on best Olympics. So I'm curious to see where Hockey Jerk's going to hijack the show tomorrow. So I'm curious to see your thoughts. Like, if the Olympics still would have that same cachet, if they can't, if it's not best on best. Am I still in auto-tune? Really?
You still have a little bit going on.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know. You know what? Maybe my mic wasn't plugged in all the way.
That would be funny if it was.
Sucks. This audio's going to be terrible tomorrow. Is it better now?
It's, to me, it seemed like
I don't want the audio to be bad. This makes me upset. Speaking of the audio, be sure to download the audio from this show and any show Pucknology does on our audio stream. You can find it on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, many more. Check it out. Subscribe. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. One thing, before we kind of just go off the air here, we forgot because we're trying to convince Zach to come on the show, but he's a little busy right now. So, Zach, if you're watching, thank you so much. Zach is actually in Colorado for the rookie showcase with the Avalanche, Ducks, and Sharks. The Sharks lost that one tonight. To 4-1 to the Avalanche rookies. There would be a running joke about summer coaching this team, but I'm not going to say it. But basically, I think it was Jeremy Waugh got the only goal for San Jose, and but there was I heard that there was a tough injury for Colorado, and I can't remember the guy's name. Yes,
easily their best prospect went down with injury, favoring his left leg. Didn't look good from what I heard. I haven't heard anything else about it yet. Hopefully it's nothing serious because this guy is super fun to watch play. Obviously, I don't want him torching the Sharks, but he's a fun guy to watch play. So, yes, there's that. On that front, next weekend, Zach will probably be joining us on the writers' room to break down the entire rookie tournament.
Absolutely. And this is the week where essentially all the guys will be back officially, we should say. Went down the captain's ice this past Thursday, and most of them are already back. So whoever didn't make it onto the World Cup team or is sitting out the World Cup team because of to completely recover from injury, I'm talking about you, Tomasz. Look ready to go more than anything. Rookies, I was out there with Drew earlier, and the rookies are looking pretty good down there. Hopefully they'll beat Anaheim Monday. I think it's a 2:00 start for the rookie showcase, and then they come home, and then this week I think they have media day. I think the ice goes in this coming weekend, and here we go, folks. We're about to hit preseason for the Sharks. Yes, we are a Shark-centric show, but we just talked about the Sharks about 55 minutes into the program. A couple of things before we sign out here. Sleepy Bofo never noticed Puck Guy 14's headphones off the Sharks website. Actually, Amazon. I got these for Christmas gifts. Sleepy Mofo also says I'm rooting for Sorensen to make the NHL team. He got an assist, I guess, on Jeremy Waugh's goal. Laurel, I would say there would be a fan fest next year. I think with all the logistics of the World Cup of Hockey, that's why they wouldn't have it this year, because they have. Whoops, that's what I get for trying to hold my water bottle. With 7 Sharks, it's not exactly the best thing. Don't worry, I'm sure they'll make it up to the 365 members. Anyways, any final thoughts, Ian? Again, Ian. Yeah. Oh, I can't hear you at all. Uh-oh. Is Ian there? Now you're muted. Now you're talking. No, you're not on. No. No. I think that's our cue to go. So I'll say this. Make sure you subscribe here. As usual, we'll be live after every Sharks game, starting regular season, of course. For more Sharks news and information, make sure you visit Pucknology.net for all your Sharks love and needs. And remember, we are presented by Audible, Amazon company. Where's my info type? Did I lose it already? No. Pucknology After Dark is brought to you by Audible.com, an audiobook service from Amazon. With our special partner link, you can get a free 30-day trial that comes with a free audiobook, which is yours to keep. You have over 180,000 titles to choose from that you can download to your phone, tablet, or MP3 player. Visit audibletrial.com/PAD to sign up right now. And with that, we will bid you adieu. Remember, 7 p.m. tomorrow for Pucknology Writers Room. And until Tuesday night, when the Americans take on the Canadians, Twitter is going to be fun that night. I am Eric Curra. You can follow me on Twitter at PuckGuy14. You can follow Ian, the quiet, angry Canadian robot, at iReadPucknology, REID. Until then, keep it tight. Keep it real tight. And good night.